Exercise 10. In this exercise, we're going to take a look at kind of a real-world, somewhat scenario where a manager throws you into a project that's, 2/3 of the way complete, and you just have to finish up some of the details. And so it's going to include a little bit of bottom-up assembly modeling, top-down. Also, there's going to be some other features that we're going to take a look at on how, and it's a lot of editing inside the context of an assembly. So let's take a look at this. And first of all, you want to grab the part files, and you'll find the part files. It's under exercise 10 parts, and then just download. And once it pops up down here, it's taking a little time. Just hit the little arrow there and show in folder. And there we have the E10, and we could just select all the parts. Now, you don't need the E10XB. That's actually the entire assembly as a neutral file format. So you could actually deselect that one. You don't need that in there. And right click, cut them out. And we'll actually create a new folder here. And we'll go ahead and we'll call this E10. And then just double click in there and paste the files. Okay, so from here, what we're going to do, we'll just go ahead and double click on E10 import. And this is the assembly just unfinished. I'm going to turn off shadows because it's basically upside down a bit here. So here we have it. It's an old MP3 player. Could actually be updated, I suppose. No one uses MP3 players these days. But anyhow, what we're going to do, it's a good example of how to edit something when it's unfinished. And if we take a look at the manual, there's actually just one drawing, and it's redlined and marked up. And actually, I have sketches on how it's supposed to look. So that's something you don't even usually get from a boss. In this case, we look at some of the different things he asks, or he or she. In this case, you can model the LCD screen, create this boss to hold the earphone case in position, and so it swivels out, as an example. But remember, this is kind of somewhat of a widget. We're not going to go into all the engineering aspects, just more to give you a taste of what it's like to have to edit parts, go in and out of them constantly to finish them off, or things like that. There's a little bit of bottom up here. We're going to take a AA battery. The battery's provided. And then over here we have, we're going to shell this back part out, put a lip around it, and then put those two, the cradle in on that side to hold the battery in position. So let's begin. Now that we have the assembly up, first of all, we could rotate this around the back, and let's hide this part. Just right click on it, and you'll find a little set of eyeglasses, hide component. And here you could see the actual circuit board. Let's bring in the battery. So under assembly, go to insert components, or actually you could just go right here to the Explorer, and there's our AA battery, and just drag it over. And I'm going to go to hide show and turn off the origins, because we don't really need to see them in this one, and the origins are turned on. They might be a little confusing. Okay, so here I'm going to go ahead and go to mate, select the copper top of the battery, select this yellow cradle surface, and hit the green check. Now go ahead and select this end face to this face right here. Hit the green check. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, and that part's done. Let's try and build now the LCD screen. And all it is just a solid block. We're going to build not black, but a solid feature that's going to follow the contour of the shape. So what you could do for that, you go to Insert Component, New Part, click on the green surface through the hole, because that's the circuit board, and we want to draw it on there. Now select, and this is where maybe you might want to go to Assembly Transparency and turn on Maintain Transparency. And once you rotate or zoom in and out, it'll take away the transparency. It makes it a little easier to see. You want to capture this edge right here. Go ahead and select that inside edge. And we're going to offset entities. I'm going to give it a little bit of clearance. And let's set it to 0.05 millimeters. And hit reverse so it's on the inside versus larger in size. We want it smaller. Now I'm just going to go to Features, Extrude Boss Base, and instead of Blind, select Up to Surface, and select this purple surface here of the MP3 player. When it turns pink, you'll see a preview showing that it is extruding up to the surface and it's following the contour. Go ahead and hit the green check mark. And that is our LCD screen. Now we could just exit that component. So again, it's just to give you a taste of what things are. You don't have to put all the details in there. So we just essentially modeled a new part on the back side of that circuit board, putting in our LCD screen. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to address this area here. Now we need to make a boss that fits in there. So let's edit this part. Click on this part, the purple part, and make sure you go to Edit Part. Now you can select this face. Note it selects right through. It didn't select the glass shield there, but the earphone case goes right through. The Shift key would allow us to select that transparent object, but we don't want that right now. So on that flat surface, start a sketch, and now you could hit the space bar and click on the front view or whatever view you want, and zoom up to that region there where you see the actual hinge needs to be. Okay, and what we need to do is we need to turn it to wireframe. Otherwise it doesn't work really well if you try and lock into those edges. So now we could go to circle, and we could wake up that center and just get to the center of that circle and drag this out until it snaps. Go to Smart Dimension, and you can see we're metric. Just set it to 3 millimeters. And now we're going to go ahead and extrude that up. And we could actually go back now to Shaded with Edges mode. So you can see there we have the profile of the boss that we're about to create. Go to Features, Extrude Boss Base. And in this case, we want to go down to 4 millimeters. And again, we're not going to get into the details of the engineering aspects, like to make a mushroom clip or different things like that. Again, it's just to give you an idea how to use the tools in here inside SolidWorks. Okay, now that we have that done, turn off Edit Component because we no longer want to edit that part. So that's completed now. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bring back the original 2. If we right click on that, we could hit actually that's up there right now. Let's see, we want to bring back, there it is, the base cover. So right click on the base cover, click on the show component, which is the eyeball, and now let's hide this part. Click on the purple part and hide that component. We'll keep the circuit board in position, and actually we could keep the rest of it in position. We're fine. You'll see the battery is submerged partially in the actual model of this particular part. So what we could do here is let's shell it. But first we have to edit that part. So before you go and try and shell it, if you clicked on it right now, if you try to look for the shell command, you won't find it. But if you click on it and then go to Edit Part, now the shell command will appear. Look at that. The base cover now shows up in blue for the text. Thus it's one being edited. So you could select this face again, go to Shell, and it's supposed to be 0.1 inches. So you could type 0.1, and you could actually type IN or the little quotes. Either one will work, and it will automatically convert it for us. Now you might get a little message like this. This is very important, especially with plastic parts. Even though if I hit apply here, okay, actually, it might go through and shell it, and it all looks great. The fact is sometimes the geometry might be, stretch the word, corrupted. Meaning that if we were to try and make a cavity out of this for a mold, it might have some issues later on down the road. So let's go ahead and hit OK. That's all right. Now I'm going to right click on the part and actually open it up by itself, isolating it temporarily from the assembly. It might ask you about feature recognition if you have that. If you don't have it, you might not get this message. It's an extra add-on, recognizes features off of dumb solids. In this case, this is an imported model. But I'm going to go ahead and just hit no. And here you can see our geometry. Now what we have here is when we shelled this, it actually shelled out the belt clip that's on the back side, inside here. And if we section it, you can go right over here to section, and let's select the right plane there. And with section, you can actually drag through. And what we could see inside there is probably this region here might have some issues where it's kind of folding in on itself. It's just sometimes things like that happen. It might be that, may not. I'm not certain. But anyway, I'm going to cancel out of that. So we want to fill that in. And besides, you wouldn't want that undercut there anyway if it's going to be plastic injection molded. Otherwise, you would take a special type of mold that would allow that to be made. And to save money, we're probably going to fill it in. But if you fill it in all the way, those of you who know plastic molding, you're going to have a sink mark. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select the side face and start a sketch. And I'm going to draw in a little bit of a core. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and select this face and hit convert entities. Now you could go through and put in dimensions if you like, but and now just go to trim entities, and I'm going to trim out right in the center there. Now I'm going to go to features, extrude boss, and just select this edge to go up to. Now we have a core that could be pulled easily from the mold, so we're not going to get sink marks. And at the same token, it actually fixed that little issue where the undercut was. Alright, so at this point, we now want to put the, well, we have it isolated, might as well put it in this feature here on this surface. Select this face and start a sketch. In the drawing, the boss wrote out, wants a lip to go around here. And so with that face selected now, we could go to offset entities, and we're going to set it to 0.05 and hit the reverse switch. And actually it's 0.05 millimeters. It should be actually 0.05 IN for inches. And you see it's right in the center there. So you could hit the green check mark for that. And we could just select this inner edge and hit convert entities. And we've essentially done what we saw happen in the last exercise, exercise 9. So we're making a lip the same way. So go to extrude boss. The call out is for some draft. It's a 0.1 in height. Now watch this, instead of IN, I'm going to type in the quote. Or just remember, you could always go down here and change it. But I'm going to hit enter. Now if we want, we could put the draft in as specified by the boss. Let's see if it works. I think on this one I've had some issues from time to time, being that it's a freeform surface. You can put it in, it's just that I'm not sure if it extrudes with it on. Let's hit the apply. And it did. Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to go now back to the assembly. So hold in control and hit your tab key one time, and it should toggle back to the assembly. Now just hit yes up here. We want it to update. And so we have our shelled component there. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and see these red posts that are sticking up. That's the cradle on the opposite side that's attached to the circuit board. We want to make a matching cradle that attaches to that on the other side, so it holds the battery securely when we put the back side on. So this is what we could do. Select this face and start a sketch. We're still editing this component down below here. Now hit your space bar and you could go normal too. And let's actually, let's go to the, let's see the front view. Go to the front view orientation. All right, now that we're here, let's go to wireframe and look carefully where the battery is. Here's our battery outline. Okay, here are the edges of the cradles, here and here. We just want to match that. Go to the corner rectangle, find a corner of a cradle bar and draw out over the existing one. That way they match perfectly. Let's go back to shaded. And now you can see, and oh, unfortunately this is blue, meaning I missed locking it in, but that's okay. I could go ahead and select this. Oops, not that point. Select that line and this edge of the cradle up top and make those collinear, and now you'll see that it's aligned. Okay, we can now go to Extrude, Boss Base, and select this edge to have it go up to and hit the green check. And so now we have partially matching cradles, but we have to cut out the scallop for the battery. So select this face and start a sketch on it. Go normal 2. We could actually go to this view orientation here. And again, let's go to wireframe. It's just a little easier to see. And there's the battery. See all the concentric rings. Now take the circle tool, locate the center of the battery, drag this out to the largest extent, and see that where it ends right here, that is the cradle on the opposite side. We want to have a little clearance. As the batteries get hot sometimes, they might expand. You always have to allow for that. And now we go to Features and Extruded Cut. Let's change it back to Shade with Edges. And now just have it cut up to the back edge on the opposite side of the cradle. And if you want to see what that looks like, Control and hit Tab once. And now you can see it's updated and we have our cradle on this side. Now if you think about that, that's pretty impressive. We didn't really use a whole lot of dimensions. We actually just used the geometry off of the other models. Again, this is the top-down capabilities you have. And imagine trying to dimension to this with all these curves. It might be a bit cumbersome. We saved a lot of time. We did this in under 18 minutes. So let's bring back the other parts. Let's see. First of all, I'm going to turn off Edit Component because we're done editing it. And let's bring back the show the original. And now we could explode it. Just go to Exploded View, select this part, drag it forward, select the lens that we made, drag that forward, select our rear cover, and we could click on this and actually drag the button array up. And then we could select, if you hold Shift, you could select the transparent object or just move it away from other entities. And then there's the battery. Click on the battery, drag that back. And now if you hit the green check mark, right click on E10 import, we could go ahead and animate the collapse. And up here you can see the animation controller. If you set it to reciprocate, it's pretty cool. You could record the video, put it up on YouTube, do whatever you want. And you could rotate it too to see what's going on there. And that completes that exercise. Now, as far as the lab that comes after that is the E10 Turbine Filter. Okay, now with this lab, again, give it a shot on your own if you like, otherwise I'll go through it right now. Start a new part file. Select the front plane, start a sketch, use the center line tool, and this is nothing more than a revolve feature, a very complex revolve. So there's a lot of great sketching exercise in this one for you. And what you want to do is when you look at the drawing, just see here, this is essentially the section view we're looking at. Let's zoom up here a little bit. Now be aware right here, these are holes, so those are going to be filled in. So you could essentially draw this profile and add the dimensions to it. So I'm going to take the line tool and infer to this, drag this up, across. I think it goes something like this, at like an angle. Don't lock it into a 45. I think this is vertical. Then there's a little angle off of this one, and another angle off of that, and another one over here. Comes back around flat, then back down, and I think it just connects. Okay, so it looks something like that. That's what you start off with, and let's verify that. Okay, and from here you just have to add the dimensions then. There's lots of angles, there's actually more dimensions than you're going to need to put in. Be aware of that, because as over the years I've seen students use this, I've tried to give them, like for example, all these dimensions here. If you can't get it to fully constrain with what you see there, add some of these in off the bottom edge. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just leave it as is, but beware, you could go in and essentially you're just adding angles on everything. You're just clicking from here to here, putting the angle on there, whatever the print specifies, from here to here. Again, whatever the print specifies, you're going to put all these different things in. Okay, there's lots of angles. Okay, it's very difficult. Give it a try, but now I'm going to go to Features and Revolve Boss Base, and it revolves around. Okay. Now the whole wizard, you could select this face. Oh, you don't need to start a sketch. My mistake there. Select this face. Actually, let's go normal to that. And from here we could go ahead and put in with the whole wizard. This is nothing more, this particular one. If we look, it's the 1/4 inch binding head screw. See, it's in parentheses. So you don't have to put in those exact dimensions. If you just select the 1/4 inch binding head machine screw, it'll have all that. So over here we have the counter bore and binding head screw 1/4 inch. Look at that, it's the default that I have. And for the depth, we just want to make sure that goes through all. And then we could go to position and just locate it. Drop one in. You could put all 4 if you wanted dimension, or it's a good challenge to find out how to actually pattern this. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit go to Smart Dimension and dimension that to the center. And let's take a look at our print. And it's on a bolt circle, which is called out at 2 inches for the radius. So this will be only 2 inches. And of course, because I didn't add any dimensions, it doesn't fit. So I'll go back to 1 inch here. Enough said. Hit Escape, click on this and this point and make them vertical. And just hit the green check mark to apply. Now you could go ahead and select this counter bore, go to Circular Pattern, select any of these faces. Oops, don't want the whole revolved pattern. Go up here, select any of these faces, and just make sure it's equal spacing. That little checkbox has to be turned on. 4 instances, 360 degrees. Okay, as far as the little cutouts go, you could select like this face and start a sketch. Oh, no, not edit sketch. Wrong. Click on this face. There we go. Go normal 2. And essentially you're going to make a center line. And then go to the line tool. And from the center outward, you could go ahead and connect this if you like, or make it come up a little bit higher. Either way. And now just mirror that. Select it all, go to mirror, and now you could add that dimension. Actually, yeah, the dimension up at the top, I believe, is supposed to be like 0.1, something like that. Okay, and then select this edge, because that's the depth that it goes, and hit Convert Entities. And I use the trim entities to trim that out, and then this, and then this. Now turn blue, you'll probably have to redefine this with another smart dimension, or angle actually, put an angle in. Okay, specify whatever it's supposed to be. And then actually if you define the base, cancel that. We had enough to begin with. Let's just hit undo there. Okay, now I'm going to just cut it through. Go to Features, Extrude Cut. Make sure the arrow points inward so it cuts everything inside, and through all both. Hit the green check. And it should make the little cutout in there. And with this one, it's just like we did last time. Circular pattern. Select the outer face. And 360 degrees by however many are specified in the print. And it's done. That, and again, make sure you put all the dimensions in. It's an excellent exercise for you to practice on. I'm not going to go through them all in this video. At this point in time, you really need to practice those. This concludes exercise 9.